Hi there, my name is Jeff Pfeiffer. I own a company called Heat4Less. I design all of our heaters. We distribute infrared heaters all across the country. Back in 2008, I used to sell different models of infrared heaters. And over the years, I've sold many different brands. And I reached a point, these just aren't the best heaters out there. So I decided I was going to make the best infrared heater made. I sat down and I made a list of about 12 different points that I thought would make my heater the best. We narrowed it down to 3. The most important one is that it makes the most heat. Secondly, I wanted it to be easy to service. And thirdly, I wanted it to be built strong so it will last long. And after many years of research, many hours of development, I came out with my Heat4Less line of infrared heaters. We've been selling them for several years now. Turns out that they are the best infrared heater made. No other infrared heater makes more heat than my heater. This here is called a watt meter. A watt meter tells you how much electricity an infrared heater is actually drawing. Though all of your larger infrared heaters are listed as 1500 watts, most of them don't draw that much. Most of them draw somewhere between 1300 and 1400 watts. Some are around 1500. It also depends on your outlet where you're plugged into. Right now we're only drawing 1300 watts. Alright? And what we then do is we see how much electric it's using, and then we use a laser thermometer to see what the temperature output is. And what we'll do is we'll turn this on. The hottest point of an infrared heater is always the top center. So we'll turn this on and get the hottest point. When you look into the laser thermometer, the top number will change. There's a red dot. If you see the red dot, wherever that dot is touching, that's the top number. The bottom number is the hottest point, and that's what we're looking for, is the hottest point. So I'm going to put this in my heater now, and you will see what the hottest point is in my heater. Okay, if you can see it, it's 610 degrees. So it's well over 600 degrees. What we'll do now is we'll do the same test with a whole bunch of other infrared heaters. So we'll start with this one here, and we'll show you the temperature output of a whole bunch of other infrared heaters. As you can see, my heater makes more heat than any other infrared heater made. So one way we test that is through the laser thermometer that we just showed you, but another simple test is this. Put your hand in front of an infrared heater, feel the volume, it's called CFM, cubic feet per minute, how much air is coming out. Now we have different ways of testing that. Our infrared heater has the highest CFM of all infrared heaters made, meaning you get more volume out of ours than any other. So not only is it hotter, but it's also giving you more. And the simple test is to just touch the heater above and below where it's coming out with your hand. Hold it there and count how many seconds you can hold your hand there. Mine is going to be somewhere between 9 and 7 seconds before you have to pull it away because it gets that hot. Other infrared heaters like this one here, you can hold your hand there for almost an entire minute because it's just not making nearly as much heat. The CFM, how much air is coming out, is way less, and the temperature is also way lower. Now when I designed my heater, I wanted it to be the best. If you recall, first I wanted it to make the most amount of heat. Secondly, I wanted it to be built strong. Some of these infrared heaters just didn't last. We're one of the largest service centers in the country of infrared heaters, and we service different brands. We had some brands coming back 3 times in 1 year to get the same part replaced. And I thought, this is crazy. And that's why I decided to build my own heater. With ours, they are built strong. We find the average return rate with all the infrared heaters out there nationally, the average is somewhere between 12 and 15% get returned within the first year, either because of a faulty part or because of the customer not being satisfied. Our return rate 2 years in a row is only 2%. 2%, that's the lowest in the industry. There's one brand out there, and I can't say the name for obvious reasons. Last year, the stores that we sell to said that their return rate was way over 50%. Over half of the heaters they sold of that brand got returned within that year. And so there's some of them just really, really bad. So ours makes the most heat. Ours is built the best and will last the longest. In fact, the heating elements is a segment we'll do in just a bit. You'll see that our heating element lasts an average of twice as long as other quartz infrared heaters. And the third point is I wanted to be easy to service. All infrared heaters will eventually need to have a part replaced. That's just the way it is. So with mine, it's extremely easy to fix. Future videos or other videos you could look at, there are other videos that you can look at that will show you how you can replace the parts in our heater. So if you live on the other side of the country and you're not near any of our service centers, you can actually call us. We'll tell you what part you need to replace. We'll send you the part. You can get online and watch a video to see how to replace it. The average length it takes to replace a part in our heater, our service technicians, takes about 5 minutes. For you, the consumer that doesn't do it on a regular basis, it might take 10 to 15 minutes. That's all it takes to replace a part. It's extremely easy to replace a part. In fact, when it comes to the heating elements, that's the most likely part to go bad. It takes 3 minutes to replace one of our heating elements. There are other heaters out there. It takes our service technicians 45 minutes to replace one heating element. That's how hard they are to replace. And they have plastic screws, sheet metal screws, wood screws, 52 screws to get to the first component. Ours is 10 screws to get to almost every component within our heater. Very easy to service. When I wanted to design my infrared heaters, it was important to me that it would be the best. I added 2 features to my infrared heater that no other infrared heater has. One is called memory technology. If the electricity goes off in your home, even for a couple seconds, it'll turn any heater off. But when the electricity comes back on, mine is the only one with a digital display that automatically comes back on at the previously set temperature. So you can use my heater not just as a supplemental heat, but your only heat source. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. The second feature that I added is this. With quartz infrared heaters, they have multiple heating elements. Some have as many as 8. If one goes out, you as a consumer has no way of knowing that one went out. If you could have 2 or 3 go out before you even know anything's wrong. With mine has 4 infrared heating elements. If one of them blows out, this green indicator light will begin to flash, and it will let you know that you need to replace a heating element. Other features that mine have, One is it's child safety touch right here to the grill. Though the heat is coming out at 600 degrees, that's right here, not here, but here at 600 degrees, you can actually touch it. Not for long, but you can touch it without burning yourself. So if you have children or pets, they can touch that and not burn themselves and get hurt. Another feature is a child safety lock. You actually set the thermostat at whatever you want on your heater, and then you press and hold the arrow button simultaneously until it beeps. Now it beeped. Now you can't adjust the temperature. The temperature stays the same. So a child can't come along and accidentally turn it on and off. To undo that feature, you just push and hold. It beeps again, and now you can adjust it. So that's a pretty neat feature. Other features I added to mine is this. Mine goes all the way down to 40 degrees. Hardly any go that low. In fact, there are some that only go down to 64 degrees. That's the lowest they go. The reason I wanted mine to go down to 40 degrees is for a few reasons. But the main reason is that some people want to use them just to keep their pipes from freezing when they're not home. And if you have one that only goes down to 64 degrees and you put it down in your basement where the pipes are, it may not shut off until it reaches 80 degrees. And the reason for that is the thermostat probe for all infrared heaters is in the back. This is ours here. Some have it down here at the bottom. Well, that's too close to the floor, so I wanted to keep it a little bit higher. So if you are in your basement and it's a concrete floor, it's going to tell the thermostat probe that it's colder in the room than what it really is, so it's going to run for a really long time. That's why with mine, by setting it at 40 degrees, it may shut off at 50 degrees. If you have one that only goes down to 64 degrees, it may not shut off until it reaches 74 degrees. So that's why it's so important to have mine to go all the way down to 40 degrees. Also, some people just simply, they'll have a summer home at the beach or the mountains or something, and they just want to keep the pipes from freezing. Again, mine, you can do that. You can take it all the way down to 40 degrees just to keep the pipes from freezing.